So guys, in this video we are going to talk end-to-end workflow of DevOps, right? So guys, we have you guys know the terminology of DevOps, right? So we have Dev and Ops here. See guys, in this DevOps, we have different teams. Like Dev was nothing but development team, and Ops nothing but operations team. We have different team, like we have testing team, we have QA, testing. Okay, so here we have like a development team, operation team, and testing team, right? So, like, where is this DevOps coming into the picture? So, where people who are learning DevOps, where this role DevOps fits? Okay, so where where are you guys fitting into this? Where are you guys fitting into the role? Right? Development team is doing development role. Operations team is doing operations role. QA is doing its testing role. So now actually where this DevOps role is fitting actually. Okay. See, first of all, let's talk about traditional methodology. So traditional means like before DevOps. Okay, when we didn't have like when DevOps was not existing, we had when we're talking about the traditional approach, we have a dev team. Dev team writes the codes, features, applications. Everything will be done by the dev team. Okay, coming to the ops team is like deployment. So deploying the code to the servers, managing the complete infrastructure was everything taken by the ops team. Okay. So coming to the QA, testing the code, making sure like before the deployment, we are making sure like everything is fine. That we are testing it in prior because in further there should not happen any kind of delays or problems. Okay, and there should not be any kind of thing. QA making sure like test it they test the code. In traditionally they used to do this was the way it was working, right? So like when I'm talking like but still what was the problem? There was something like gap. There was a bridge, there was a gap. So there was like a lot of like miscommunications were happening. In traditional methodology, there was a lot of miscommunication, slow handovers, and there was a lot of problem between the development and operations team. Always there was like miscommunication. It is working, it is working in development team, but when it is going for the deployment, there was a lot of failures. They were telling there is some issue, some bugs in my machine. It's working slow. So there was a lot of issues in traditional approach. So let's discuss more in detail about it. Okay. So when I'm talking about this DevOps, see, it's not like something something. It's DevOps is not something separate team or something like how we you can see here. Here we can say like we have development team, operation team. So now DevOps is not something like a separate team, or it is not replacing a development team or operation team or testing team. Instead, it is one culture. It is one set. Like it is just connecting. It is like DevOps is connecting the development and operations. See, there was a gap. There was a gap between this dev and operations. So development, they develop something, they and everything is working fine in developer's laptop. But when it is going to deployment, they were having the miscommunication was there. So this there was earlier, like in traditional methodology, dev was a separate thing and operations was a separate thing. Okay, they both in had a good coordination. Okay, there was a gap between them. There was a miscommunication was earlier. So now, what is this DevOps coming into the picture? What it is doing? Still, after DevOps got into the place, development is still doing development job. Operation is still doing operation job. Testing is doing still testing job. Okay, so what is this DevOps role? What actually DevOps is doing? Let's take one scenario. Okay, in this scenario, you can see like user. You can see here we have a user. Okay, we have a user. You can see this is a user. So this user was having a dream. This user was having a dream to build one application. To build one application and to host one application. These users wanted to start a business basically. Okay, this user wants to start a business. Like example, like you can tell like he wanted to start one application. He wanted to build one application or he wanted to host one application. Okay, so when he wanted to host one application, just think like we have different uh, applications, right? So we have like for travel, we need to travel. For that, we have a Uber, we have a the Mayatri, we have a like Ola, we have Rapido, all other things, right? In the market, we have so many different applications. See now, example, we have like even Swiggy, we have Zomato, we have Geomart, we have various kinds of applications, correct? So now this you example, if you think like Swiggy, we have Swiggy application was created by one team, one person, but Swiggy is does not have Swiggy restaurant, right? Swiggy does not have Swiggy restaurant. Zomato, we have Zomato, right? Zomato don't have their own restaurant, right? It is just one application. Same manner, we have Uber. Uber doesn't have their own cars. Everyone goes to that specific company as a cab drivers. Our goal here is to mainly focus only on the application. Okay, main goal is to focus on the application. So now, so now here this user, this user, as I told, he wanted to build one application. Like you just think like Mayatri or Swiggy, any of the application like that kind. He wanted to build one application. So this user, what he does is he goes to the developer. This user goes to this user goes to the developer. So user goes to developer and he asks like actually he will tell his requirement. Like he tells like I need to build an application like he will explain what kind of application is required. Okay. So then developer understands the what is the client requirement. Then developer tells, okay, this kind of application development will be possible by IT firm, IT sector, consultant, organization, like that. The developer suggests to the client. Then what you like this user does is he goes to the what organization. He goes to organization like IT firm sectors. We have different like Infosys, IBM, Wipro, Oracle, like that. IT firm, IT firm, organization or company, anything. I just mentioned you. He just goes and visits. Once user goes there, he will explain the requirement. Client explains what is the requirement, exactly what he wants. Everything will be explained by the client to the company. Once everything has been explained, now the company goes to the there will happen a discussion. There will be a discussion between the management. Management, uh, like whatever the project has been uh, told by the client or their like requirement. Once the company receives it, then there is going to happen a discussion. Discussion will be happening between the management. I can tell you. There will be a discussion happening with the management. Management. Okay. So, and once the discussion happens, then there will be talk with the development head. There will be talk with the development lead or development team lead. Development and operations and development lead and the operations. How much? Okay. So now once there will be discussion, like management, everyone will discuss, and there will be discussion with the development lead, team lead, and and with the operation lead. So now there will be come into the picture of something like SDNs. Okay. So now you're going to get in the picture something called SDLC. SDLC is nothing but software development life cycle. Okay. Software development life cycle. Okay. This is big in short, we tell us SDLC. In this software development life cycle, okay, this software, there's one phase. Okay, in this phase, what are the stages happen? So, now there is a discussion like, between the development team and between the operations team. So, in this discussion, so they need to decide, right? What is the first they need to understand like what client wants. They need to plan. They need to design. So that things happens. Whatever the requirement, whatever the output they need to provide to the client. So everything happens in this specific SDLC stages. So that we tell as software development life cycle, and in this stages And in this stages. So we have first of all the team should understand what does the client requires. First of all, there's something like requirement gathering. Okay, requirement gathering means first we need to understand exactly what the client wants. Okay, so they understand what the client wants, what is the actual requirement the client is wanting. So they are going to understand each and everything what the client wants. Next, planning phase. In the planning phase, they're going to decide. Okay, first they understand. Okay, this was the client required. First, once what we have understand the client requirement. Next, planning. In planning phase, we are going to decide. Okay, once we go to know the client requirement, next we are going to plan. We are going to decide how much time does it's going to take. What will be the cost, and what are the resources where we need to use for this application. So everything will be planning in the plan phase. Next, we are going to design. So this is something like once the plan is done, we are going to get one blueprint or one architecture. In the design phase, we are going to get exactly what is the blueprint, how this application will be delivered to the client. So that is where yeah, we can show this design to the client. Okay, this is our architecture. So they are going to get one complete picture. Okay. Once the architecture is finalized, next phase will be development phase. Okay. In development phase, programmers write the code based on the architecture. Programmers are going to develop the code. Okay. Next, talking about testing. In testing, so once the code has been developed by the developer, so in testing phase, the team does testing. In prior they do all the test software for the bugs. Next, finally, the deployment phase. So, in the deployment phase, finally, the application will be delivered to the client. So, we are going to release our software to the users. Okay. Next, finally, we are going to do maintenance. See, once the application has been delivered, software has been released. Then once it has been released, we need to do the maintenance. Like we need to fix issues, we need to add any updates, we need to monitor. So all these things happens. Okay. So this is the um, workflow, how it is going to work. Okay. So now where is this DevOps coming into the picture? Where the DevOps is coming into picture? So when I'm talking about the DevOps, when talking about DevOps means as you guys know now, DevOps is nothing but Dev plus Ops. Dev plus Ops. So this is which connects development, development plus operations, operations and testing. So in this, we are going to automate. We are going to automate the testing, deployment, scaling, monitoring. So DevOps, what is the DevOps doing here, guys? See, earlier there was a gap, right, between the development team and operation team. So development used to do development, operations when doing deployment, there was a gap. So because of the gaps, there was like delivering the application was taking time, right? But now, what is this DevOps doing? It is connecting everything. It's connecting the development, it is connecting the operation, it is connecting testing. So it is creating one pipeline basically. Okay. So code. So whatever the code has been developed by the developer, like it's going to build one automation pipeline so that code from dev automatically gets tested. Tested code automatically gets deployed. See, development is doing development job, and directly once it is going to test, it is directly getting deployed. Operations is getting it deployed automatically. So once it is deployed, then we are going to monitor. Okay. See, this is how the DevOps architecture works. See, I can just give one more example. My best example I can talk about. See, we have something like, think without DevOps. Without DevOps. See, like we have something like without DevOps, you just think like one e-commerce application, or I'll just take Swiggy. See, in Swiggy or Zomato, anything, I need to update. So we need to update the application. So application like Swiggy. So like I need to like update one new feature. So we need to update one new feature. So to update one new feature, like we need to track live. We need to track. It is going to take a weeks, right? So I need to update. So I need to update some thing like payment feature. I need to update tracking feature. A new feature should be added in that application. Okay. See, if I want to add the new feature without DevOps, I want to update this Swiggy. Swiggy, like I need to add a new feature. What happens without DevOps? It is going to crash, right? It is going to crash because we are doing it manually. Just think with the DevOps. With the DevOps. So with the DevOps, with the DevOps, with the DevOps. So developer is going to push code. So automatically it is going to test. Automatically it is going to be tested and deployed. And finally the feature goes live. Okay, without the DevOps, like we had like whatever the feature, like new feature should be added, it is taking like a delay. Like, it might crash, it might become slowed down. There will be a lot of things happening. But when we have DevOps it is automating the process using the pipeline. Okay, see now how this architecture works. So when I'm coming to the architecture, you guys are going to understand it very clearly. See, this is the end-to-end flow. Okay, this is the end-to-end workflow. See, like you can see, we have various tools in uh, DevOps. We have you can see we have Jenkins, we have Maven, we have Docker, we have Kubernetes. We'll be doing a deployment also in Kubernetes. We have a Terraform. Terraform is going to manage the infrastructure. So this is one end-to-end workflow. Okay, so developer role is to develop the code. Okay, see once the code has been developed in locally. Okay, locally it is present only in his laptop. So only he can see that. So if everyone want to view that code. So that code can be stored in the GitHub. We call it as GitHub. GitHub means remote source repository. So we have something like first Git developer develops the code local. Okay. Next, we have GitHub. It is a remote repository. Source code, remote repository. Okay. Whatever the code has been developed locally, so we'll be pushing it to the GitHub. Okay. Here in GitHub, uh, like you have like multiple developers can download and they can also use that. Okay, we have Jenkins. Jenkins was one of the important tool in the DevOps. Okay, in this Jenkins, CI/CD process happens, continuous integration and continuous deployment. So continuously integrating, like if any changes happening here, the developer is making any changes, continuously this Jenkins CI and CD. CI continuously it is they are building and testing and deploying. Okay, so that flow happens like how when I told about traditional methodology, there was having a gap, right? But now when we have a DevOps, in DevOps we have a Jenkins tool which is automating the end-to-end workflow, right? I told one example, like we need to update something, how we are updating the things. So this Jenkins is automating the process, CI/CD workflow. It is taking place. We have something like Docker. We have a tool Docker, and this is we tell this as a containerization technology. Okay. Next, finally, we do deployment in Kubernetes. So we do deployment in the Kubernetes. Okay. So we have something like Terraform. We have something like Terraform. So in Terraform, we are going to manage the infrastructure. Okay, we're going to manage whatever we were doing manually in the cloud. In Terraform, we are going to automate completely. Okay, see, this is the best architecture for the DevOps end-to-end workflow. So in this architecture, we have a developer. So developer duties like where developers they write a code, they store the code. We have a Maven. Maven is also one build tool. So basically we have normal developer write a code. So that is just a code. So code needs to become an application. So using a Maven, we are going to the code becomes an application. Okay. Again, we have something like Docker. In Docker, application becomes a container. Okay. So it is going to pack everything. The application is going to pack completely. Finally, we have Kubernetes. Like in AWS, we have EKS. In DevOps, we have Kubernetes tool. So we are going to run our applications here. Okay, and once an application is being deployed, we need to monitor, right? So what is happening? What is the CPU utilization? What is the memory utilization? So everything will be monitored using a monitoring tools. We have monitoring like